This recording started. My name is Belinda Foster, and this is Chapter 8, one of our favorite chapters of the book, Working with the Law by Raymond Holliwell. And this tonight's chapter, this week's chapter, is about the law of non-resistance. So we were just chatting before we started the recording about change. And of course, this is about the law of non-resistance. And how beautiful is it to feel this desire to want to change or move or step out or do something as crazy as it sounds, or as minor, because I can really just sometimes just get stuck in ordering the same number 21 at the Mexican restaurant because, you know, there's that law of non-resistance. I'm trying to resist ordering something else. We got you folks moving and making big life changes. So don't y'all love this chapter, the law of non-resistance?
Oh yeah, I still have not mastered it, so I still gotta be on it.
I was like, I love it and I need it.
You gotta master it, remember, before
the mastering of it, but yeah, good. I think we can attempt to.
Well, at least be close to it, right?
Well, I loved our call last night on a happy pocket full of money, where we, you know, Casey was talking about whenever something's just not what you want in your life or where you want it, or things don't go right, you look in the mirror and you go, that was all me, man. It's like no matter what it is, good or bad, and how Casey's always one to remind me. She's like, L&R. For the longest time, I'm like, what is this L&R she's talking about? I'm like, oh, the law of non-resistance. So, but you know, it is kind of cool when you look at the chapter, especially the way it starts out. Like and I love that we take these quantum physics and energy laws, and you can so marry that to spirit science of religious or just spiritual laws. And I love that this one starts out by, but I say unto you that ye resist not evil, which is in Matthew 5:39. And then there's a couple other places in the book that in this chapter that were also referenced, such as I know not everybody has this version of the book, but do you guys recall reading about where Jesus expressed the law about I say unto you, love your enemies? Love them, right? So, you know, whether or not we are, you know, whatever someone's views are spiritually or religious wise, I mean, we totally honor that, because all this is really saying the same thing. You know, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, pray for them that despitefully use you. And in studying the, you know, at first how you might think that you're favoring the enemies and the opponents, but really it was just about the desire to use this law, which is what makes this law so exciting to me. And how that this removal of any enemy or opposition first has to be in the person's consciousness, and that when you think of that person, you know, that you don't want to keep attracting that same thing over again, and you want to send that enemy, if whatever we deem as an enemy, send those good vibes and send the blessings. So boy, that's not always easy.
He's not.
Oh, goodness.
You know what, Belinda? Today was an amazing I guess not example. It was an amazing moment of experience for myself too. One of them, it's the L&R, right? And what Casey was talking about last night, you know, happy pocket, you know, seeing everybody with love, and I'm studying 101 days to transform your life. I mean, really transcribing, because I made a promise. So on my mastermind group this morning, I'm listening to the person who's sharing, and I can hear the energy coming that wants to control that situation, that it's not being changed. After all, it's been requested, and you know, we're talking of a parent in this case, and you know, they're doing for their child. And for the first time, I'm listening, and I remembered, when you come from spirit, which is what the laws are teaching, when you come from spirit, you let it be. It's in a divine purpose, right? And when I explained that to that person, they didn't understand the moment because they were resisting the fact of letting go because it was not done at the moment, even though they tried 3-4 times, by request. And I said, well, there's a question, what will you do if you were coming from love? What will you do? Remember, it's not like you sat down and you visualized this and you didn't do anything about it. You actually took action. You did movement, physically speaking. You're still in the physical world. You're not in the spiritual world. And for the first time, I was not judging. I let it be because I was getting frustrated in a way because she was not seeing the law of non-resistance. She was not seeing that she was trying to control the situation, for example. And I'm like, when you're in spirit, there's really no physical. You just let it go. You don't see that you desire. Of course, it's a moment-to-moment thing. And the law of non-resistance right there, even there, that you're listening, you're helping each other, masterminding. Everything gets divine purpose and divine way. Listen and send them love. They will understand at the right moment. So it really reminded me of the law of non-resistance. Do not resist what's happening in this moment right now that you are sharing or we are sharing, because there's something for you to learn, and it's perfect divine way. There's no around it. And it reminded me of this chapter. That's why I said I'm still not master. I have to stay on this chapter for I don't know how long. Being close to it.
Amen to all that. Boy, we all deserve to, just like Casey says, L&R. Did you hear that earlier, Casey, when I was talking about how you do that all the time? And it took me a little bit before I realized L&R was law of non-resistance. And gosh, it's so true. I now hear that in my head, L&R. And it could be something as simple as me knowing in my mind a way to do something that I've researched, and I know this is the best way for that person, and they don't know what they don't know, all the way to, when we feel we're truly setting somebody for success in our work, or our life, or whatever we're doing, and they don't want to go that route, and you feel like, well, try that again. Let me say it this way. Let me say it that way. And then there's this point where you're starting resistance in a very low grade kind of way that can build up. And I'm being very mindful now of that. I'm learning so much in this. Casey, do you want to speak to your thoughts on L&R, since you're my L&R queen?
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, L&R, I think I think that the two most important laws are the law of vibration and then the law of L&R. Because, what he says, it says the law of vibration, this is from Bob Proctor and Dave and all the studying, but, and they really started to listen to them talk about that. So the law of vibration is truly what the law of attraction is, right? So we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. Well, we attract based on vibration. Well, of course, the highest vibration is love. Well, how do we stay in love? Well, through all the other things, the law of compensation, gratitude, and all that. Well, what's the number one way to stay in, though, that highest vibration in that love state with all the other laws? It's practicing L&R in every single moment in every single way, because L&R is holding yourself in such high love and in such faith that because you've been holding your vision, right, and you're attracting what you are, and it's just that unshakable faith. So no matter what is happening, it's happening for my highest good. I don't have to react to it. I can respond or just look at it, and because I'm going to L&R it, just the law of non-resistance, I'm not going to resist anything that comes into my life, because that would alter my vibration. Anytime I let my vibration go away from love, gratitude, all those other things, it's because I'm resisting what's showing up in my world. And so to master my emotional state and stay in that law of non-resistance, I think it's the most powerful law that we can learn how to apply in our life, because it's what's going to keep all the other laws at the highest forefront, our vibration the highest, thus, you know, the law of attraction will be exactly how we desire to command it.
I love that, because that's really saying that the technique for maintaining the highest vibration of love is truly applying the law of non-resistance as that becomes the method, that becomes kind of the answer whenever we find ourselves somewhere not receiving the outcomes that we desire, the incomes we desire, the relationships we desire. It's somewhere in there is some resistance, even the health that we desire. So many of us are where we would never ever attract intentionally poor health, for example. However, we're resisting even something, I think, at a minor level, such as, all right, we know all right, I'm having a little bit of that today, so I'll fess up. Okay, so today was, all right, number one on my list, go to the gym. What time is it?
Oh my God, it's late for you for sure. It's early for me.
It may not happen today. And I have calls after this, and so there was a resistance going on in there somewhere, right? Why didn't I make it? And then yet I can really overthink things sometimes. I'm like, no, I actually didn't resist it at all. I had some stuff to do, and it actually felt better to me. It almost felt like had I gone to the gym, I would have been resisting what my heart and soul truly wanted to do. So even as silly little daily things like that. And so because I had a great day, I just went with the flow, and Chris, I do my ramble technique, and I said, it's okay if you don't go to the gym today, because you can always walk around outside tonight, and you live in a wonderful neighborhood, and around the entire beautiful little community, there's security lights, and it's completely peaceful, and you can see the stars at night. You can always go out, and before you go to bed, you can release everything that didn't serve you. You can get some fresh air. It's quiet. And so I've actually done that the last couple of nights where this happened, and suddenly I feel this free flow of more spirit and energy coming to me. And I also came into this week, and for various reasons, I might have partied a little bit too hard on Tuesday night, and on Saturday night, the gang got together, as you guys saw in the pictures. When you see girls kissing girls, there was probably some alcohol and food and fun. Not the lips, but just a little cheeky poo, just everybody's happy. And so I was like, and then you get into the space where you beat yourself up. Like, it's just so easy, even for us who practice the laws. Every day, there's just this tiny little slide that can start, that'll build very quickly if we're not mindful of it, and release it and flow. And so I loved myself through this yesterday. I went out in nature. I went for a hike, and I said, I just rambled my way back out and said, it is an amazing week. There's so many people waiting for you. There's so many people that I love. Let me send loving energy. Let me love myself. Man, number one, what an amazing week this is. And I just came into this morning feeling that really strong, and already I've had an amazing day. And so for some reason, I think that whole gym thing, well, Casey, you found a dog, so you got a good out. Didn't you find a lost dog?
That's so cute.
Hey, you're muted. Unmute yourself, Casey, so we can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're talking, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. I made it to the gym, and it was so busy, I didn't even work out. I was like, I'm not doing this. So I just came home, and then I went on my walk. But I was active.
Yeah, you moved. Remember, that was the goal.
That's right. I did. Success.
But there is something really beautiful and right about that flow, and going within that flow. And then when we go too far, that's where that contrast comes up. And then that's where we find out, oh, that's not what we want either. And I just love that balance that we can all do with the laws, the awareness of it, especially.
Yeah, the awareness has been a huge one for me too. I guess it will be funny because you get into those old paradigms and you overthinking, because I overthink things. And then you start, whatever, going over, texting, whatever. And then when you read whatever you're going to text, or you already sent, and you're like, what the heck? I know better than this. It's like a review, but then you already sent the text, for example. And I'm like, damn, girl, you just freaking resisted this. And you know better. You have the answer. What the heck were you are thinking of stuff that you don't want or desire? Right? So that's shit, too late then. So, I mean, that's my self-talk. And I say, what I remember from when I started learning the laws back in the days, cancel, 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 cancel. That's not mine. That's not for me. I don't want that energy. It's not. But then what the beauty of that, as you said, the awareness, is that you are aware. And now you have the tool. And it does not matter. I'm one of those people that now even more, that I don't care how long it's going to take, but it's going to happen. But now I'm learning that I am to be in that energy, because I create my reality. Of course, we are humans. We're living the physical experience because we decided to, for whatever reasons, from many, because I do believe in reincarnation. So I'm sure I was a European back in my life, because I love Europe. And my point is, fast forward now to now. Now I know how to create that reality. And as Dave or Casey, I mean, you're an amazing example. Even you, Belinda, or all of those are really focused, and that's something I'm learning. I'm actually learning, and I'm loving discipline and focus, because that's something that's the past I used to not have. So when you focus, it's so awesome, because you can feel the energy that you're actually creating, that you're desiring. And it's so, I could give you an example. I mean, the fact that I can go to LA and meet, celebrities, or be near them, when before I was on TV, like, there's no way I can have something like that, or be in the energy of someone like that, for example. Or simple as Rhonda or Lenny or Dave. I will never in my imagination thought that I was going to be near someone like that, because they have done it, they're up there, or maybe Casey or you. But then we all have it. And that's what the law of non-resistance, and the vibration is one of the, that's where it starts, the vibration. Now I understand that. When you're vibrating so low, you don't see it. There's no way you can see it. That's the 98%ers. I just learned that. The awareness it's a beauty.
You always have such great insight and great shares with us. We're happy when you show up, because you always show up. I'll tell you what, you don't ever resist that. That's a beautiful thing, man. You're in the flow, and it just can't help but come to you, because you're so open always to it.
Oh, thank you. Well, let's put it this way, you are the closest thing I have to stay in my happy moments. Not because of that. I love the energy, and it really helps me, keeps me. But of course, I come from passion. I love doing that. So I don't think about it twice. I sure think about it when I sure say no, but then it just comes naturally. And I love the energy, because honestly, raw, this is the closest I have positive energy around me, besides the one that I provide.
Well, that's probably true for so many of us, because our group is powerful, and there's a power in all of our vibrations coming together. In fact, I've been preparing finally for my little thingamajig I got to do in St. George, Utah. So just today, Casey, I got like a week to spare, baby. I started working on some of this, and what I'm going to talk about is really quantum physics. I'm going to choose the easiest subject that I know, quantum physics, and kind of talk about how that marries with spirituality into a spirit science. And one of the things I've been studying is how for years and years, as humankind as we know it, especially in the last several hundred years, 300 or 400 years, what have we done? We have resisted. So what does resistance cost us, just say as a country, for example, and look at all the wars that we're in, the conflict that we're in. And there's something greater than that that's going on. Like there's something greater than terrorism. There's something greater than being fearful of limited resources, of power grabbers, all that's going on under the guise of war. It is a constant battle of resisting. And what I love is that we are stronger than that, because even the Bible, like we're more gathered, wherever our energy comes together, wherever we vibrate. And quantum physics has actually quantified how many people and how much heart space it takes if we all came together, say 8,000 of us at one time, and raised our vibration and sent healing love to the world. It actually affects what goes on in that region of the world. And they've done some studies in this, which I found really fascinating. I'm going to talk about that when I go to St. George. In the Middle East, they actually had a project where they brought people together and they asked them to think and vibrate, if you will, Casey, and just, send those peaceful and very intentional emotions of peace. And during that project, they noticed that there were ceasefires, the conflict died down. I find all that very, very fascinating. So really, it's like you just said, Casey. It's applying the law of non-resistance, which so much of that is fear-based. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Mm-hmm. Yes, fear, or well, yes, but then also what? I guess it is because
there's really only two emotions, right? There's
mm-hmm.
fear and love.
Yeah. I was thinking of comfort zone, but then it's still the same thing. You don't get out of the comfort zone because of maybe fear or any whatever. Yeah, fear. I would say yes.
Yeah, cool. Any other thoughts on that?
I was thinking right now when you were sharing about gathering everybody, at the same time and vibrating at the same time, or focus on the positive to bring about the high vibration. And I was thinking of, I think it was last year when Mexico was going to receive a huge hurricane. I can't remember. It was considered like even worse than Katrina. And I remember on Facebook, even all those like Dr. Wendier at that time, I think it was, and the Doreen Virtual, I think, all of them were asking all of us to get together and in our own homes, wherever, and send positive vibes to Mexico and pray so that wouldn't happen, to their path, because they were expecting the worst of the worst. And I truly believe, honestly, that everybody got praying and thinking, positive, because it got weak by the time it touched land. And it reminded me what you said in the Middle East, what they did. And I do believe that when you're like what we're doing right now, we're not physically here, but the fact that we are in the same moment, even though you're different times, we're still in the same energy. We're still in the same vibration, because there's no, now that I'm understanding more and more, there's really no, I don't know how you can say that. I wouldn't say obstacles, but then just because I cannot touch you doesn't mean I'm not touching you. Does it make sense? Like my energy, it's touching you. What I'm giving you now, or what you're giving me, even whatever you're thinking, I'm still receiving it. It's still energy, because that's what we are. It's just that when you talk about quantum physics, which I'm loving, and I will get focused on, but then later, not now, I got too much going on. But when I think about it, when it comes to, you call those little balls electrons, right? The electrons, which are the energy. And when you put them together, that's why we become matter. Because in reality, there's nothing physical. Nothing is physical. So we are all energy. And that's what Dr. Albert Einstein talked about in the law of, that's when my Spanish and English mixes together and then I cannot talk. Okay, hold on. The law of relativity, that's where it comes from. So I just love the fact that I can sit right here and send you love and send you blessings, whatever it is that you're going through. You feel it, and I'm not necessarily touching you. And then at the side, you text me, whatever, that's where it comes from. So I love quantum physics. It's just so awesome.
Well, what's exciting about some of the stuff that I've been studying is that science has now quantified this. So it's not us just talking about it. It's not just spiritual stuff. It's not, you know what I mean? This is actually being tested and has been proven now that this quantum field of energy, this quantum soup of energy, everybody's contributing to it.
Yep.
And whatever you're contributing to it is what is being mirrored back to you. So there's nothing that we don't have or can't get based on whatever we're putting in the pot, putting in it. And when, just thinking back about the law of non-resistance and thinking about conflict, it just, we already know a world of competition doesn't work. I mean, look where it has us. And it's not the kind of competition, like sports and kids and healthy kind of things like that and fun. You win this and that, that's all positive. But when the higher good of mankind is not at heart, that type of competition versus cooperation. And this law of non-resistance, to me, really speaks to me in a big way. And we know we have work to do, but we also know now that through the power of this new science, this language of feelings is, chakras, energy balancing, frequencies. This is just a new language. No different than language from physics, biology, chemistry over the last 400 years. That had its own languages as well. But it did not take into account human thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And now for the first time, the reason quantum physics is so important is it's saying, no, we can prove. And they have measurements and ways to test it. So that's what's so exciting. It truly is now becoming this marriage. And we're going to find our place in a world where we have a decision to make. It's been talked about in the ancient text. It's been predicted that there's going to be this window we step through. And if we step through it with love and cooperation, then mankind will move into this new realm that we all want to see it go to. All of us here, so many people do. But if we keep resisting and fighting, then we literally will kind of self-extinguish ourselves. And there's it just is this resistance chapter, man, really spoke to me on this. Right now there's, and this is a little bit about what my presentation is going to be in St. George, but right now there's about 5 things going on in the world that if any one of them came to be, it could end the world if we continue the way we're continuing, if we all don't come together and see we are together. Like, I'm 100% absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, I know now that we've got this. We're more powerful. Our vibrations are more powerful. We're not resisting. That's more powerful. We're cooperating. But some of those things we hear about every day, and climate change. How many of us have heard all the discussions and the debates about climate change, and and a polar shift? I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but there's like this 180-degree polar shift, and they're saying that the magnetic field has been diminished now to such a point that that's pretty inevitable that that's going to occur. There's global war, there's viruses and medicines that can't treat certain viruses now. So, all that's very fearful, and all that is up to us to decide how we want to see it end. And so they said you can't figure out how it's going to end because we're participating. It's a participatory universe. And this law of non-resistance, just like Casey was saying, is so critical that we work in a spirit of love and cooperation. Love and cooperation.
No, Belinda, this is getting kind of toward the end of the chapter, so I think in the most popular version being used, it like starts on 127 and then goes into 128 about meekness. And I posted about meekness probably a week or two when I fast forwarded through the book and felt like I deserved to dive into the law of non-resistance because I was just, struggling with it. And it's like as I read it again on 128, that first full paragraph that starts with meekness then is that strength appropriated when you do not argue, when you do not become angry or boastful and proud, when you do not insist on having your rights in a quarrelsome manner. Toward the end, then when differences of opinion arise and your opinion is right, the real victory lies in the fact that right is right, regardless of what others may say about it. That should be enough, that it doesn't have to be pushed and somebody have to know that you're right. And I'm telling you, this is really one of my most difficult hurdles to get over, that in a forum like this, it makes perfect logical sense. I'm fantastic. I think I have mastered the whole hindsight thing, that I can look back on something and be like, oh, I can see where I was wrong there. I'm going to work on that, make sure we don't do that anymore. But, truly to get to the point of being able to actually, take action in the moment I think that is a huge sign of, maturity or advancement or whatever you call it. But, if Wayne Dyer, back to your 101 ways, Cindy, that if you have a choice to be right or to be kind, choose kind. And I had a situation over dinner the other night that literally rocked my world. I was so pissed. And he brought that thing up about Wayne Dyer and, oh, you're going to laugh about this and let it go. And I had easily gone on about it. I mean, just frantically gone on about this situation for, 2 hours, 3 hours. I mean, it was ridiculous. And, they, Holliwell says earlier in the chapter about stop saying what you're not going to do anymore and actually, proclaim what you are going to do, the opposite. And I do that a lot where I'm okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. I need to get better at not doing this. And that's actually still the wrong approach, to not do something. It's the focus needs to be okay, whatever the opposite of that is, we need to focus on doing that, positively doing the other, as opposed to scratching or canceling or negating, whatever the wrong thing is. And that's a lot. It's a lot to think about, especially in the moment when something's happening to you or you feel like you have been wronged or your feelings are hurt, or, to say, to choose the opposite and to actually do it in the moment. I've not arrived. But anyway, I just that whole thing about meekness, I think I never knew that that's what meekness meant. In all of my religious studies and everything, I had no idea that really that's what it boiled down to. I thought it was pretty cool when I first read it.
I like that. Actually, I have that also highlighted, that whole paragraph, and I have the word read this out loud tonight. So I'm so glad you just talked about that. That's perfect. By the way, Pearl just showed up. Sorry, guys. Law of non-resistance right here. Animals, are they not our greatest teacher? Because have you ever tried to hold a cat against its will? That ain't happening. Cats are the greatest teachers of the law of non-resistance. They are just because you cannot resist it. It's resistance fighting resistance. But you were just talking about what you just. I go through the same thing where I'm maybe fussing at myself a little bit, or I'm tired of limitation, or Stop thinking, but you're right. That's not the answer. It's focusing on the positive aspect of what it is that made you think that to begin with. And so like today, Casey, I had a great day, but I did have this one moment because I had to go transfer some money and get ready for, my little condo purchase and stepping out on that financial faith. And when I had that moment, I pulled out that laminated wealth affirmation page you gave us a while back. I'm wealth, money flows to me. All right, I'm trying to resist right now, not working with Pearl. Okay, but it truly, these lessons are all around us, and I love them now. I'm seeing it everywhere. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. That awareness is you just start to smile about it because you see it, and then you kind of pass that realm where it feels good because you're not resisting. I had one of those days today. It's like the water, that paragraph where they told the stream and how it starts and it builds momentum. And, when it first starts, it just trickles and does its thing and works its way down. It's not trying to resist big boulders and trees. And then it builds this momentum, and then it becomes a very powerful force. And I like that example because, when I thought about the law of non-resistance with water, I think about riptides. Like, what do they tell you to do if you get caught in an undercurrent in a tow? They tell you to swim with it.
Oh, I didn't know that. I learned something new today.
Right? You don't swim against it, right? Don't you swim
with a current?
With it, but sideways? Heck, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is anybody in your lifeguard?
No, I don't know how to swim.
Casey's our beach girl. She would know. Unmute.
You just swim with it, and if it starts to tumble you, you don't try to stop it. So like if it starts to roll you, you just hold your breath, plug your nose, and you just let it roll you. You just float with it. You don't try to swim or anything. You just become basically a dead body, letting it roll and tumble you. And then when the tumbling stops, that's when you would go to the top.
Wow, great lesson right there. I had no idea.
Woo!
That's total non-resistance right there.
Right. I mean, you just have to stop, because if then you could get turned in it, So, and then you want to just stay in that one spot, let it roll, not try to stay in it. You want to get out of it, and it'll tumble, and you'll just kind of flip out of it if you let yourself just float in it.
Yeah,
But if you're trying to swim against it, you can get caught in it.
It's kind of like,
and then you ain't getting out of it when you're resisting it.
yeah.
You'll just stay. You can keep yourself in it longer.
Hello. What you resist.
Yeah. So, and then when you think about, gosh, I was thinking about this today because, especially for people who, I got cat hair all over me. Especially for anyone, any of us who say have a medical issue that we have to send love and appreciation to. Like somebody who has cancer. Because I've read stories and we've learned from so many of the wise masters of these laws who have gotten cancer or some growth in their body. And the first thought is to fight it, to do extreme measures. And Western medicine has taught us that's what we do. And then there's the whole spiritual realm, even in China, where they are healing and reversing cancerous tumors just through not resisting it, loving it, sending it loving energy, healing energy, and under 4 minutes have actually reversed a cancerous tumor. And this has been caught on tape. And it's something I'll be showing a little snippet of, hopefully, if I can retrieve it. That tape currently has been pulled down by Hay House due to a copyright infringement. Of course it has. Me and my copyright stuff. But so I'm not going to resist that if that's the case. But when I think about someone who's not well and you see posts on Facebook and people asking for prayers, even though they're getting the best medical help, they're at great facilities, they're getting the best procedures that we know of in the Western world. Everybody's asking for prayers. There's a belief there, right, that we have a power, or we wouldn't be all saying prayer, asking for prayers on Facebook.
True.
And that's that spirit science. And that's that. But I think too, when people are praying, I know for me traditionally, you know, prayer now is meditation to me. They're the same thing. Meditation, prayer. And now my meditation is of gratitude. And I'm realizing that if you know, someone has dis-ease, then there's a prayer of gratitude to go out, to thank it for what it's here to teach us, what it's here to represent, so that we can release it. Any thoughts on that as it relates to medical and health?
There was something that I read, and it was on like an angel card, and it was just about how like illness or disease in the body, let it be there. Like just go with it in a law of non-resistance, in a sense. Not that you just have to completely like ignore it and say, oh, it's not there. I mean, there, you know, but just to let it know that it's teaching us something. It like you can find your greatest healing in the illness or in the disease. You can actually find your greatest healing in that. But I mean, we all know, and as somebody who was a nurse for, you know, kids with cancer, the difference with families that were optimistic, that had prayer, that just knew everything was going to be okay. The kids that still, oh yeah, it's cancer, you know, it is what it is. And then you have the kids that are on there Googling everything and how they're going to die. Right. So you had those children that were in that state of gloom and not that optimistic. And those were the ones, you know, that you saw struggle and things like that. And then you had the optimistic, like just the knowing that I got this. And those are the kids. So, I mean, just the power that I saw with children and the difference that thought and, you know, can have. It's just truly incredible. But I do believe that our bodies, any kind of pain, illness, disease, back pain, foot pain, your right knee hurting, you know, something like that, it's communicating to us something and allowing us to slow down for a minute. I mean, Dave MacArthur crushing his leg, you know, on that four-wheeler. It's something that it's serving you in some way. And so to almost be grateful for it and to say, okay, I hear you, I see you, I'm supposed to be learning, you know, from this. Let me get quiet. Let me meditate. I'm healing. And then just seeing yourself in perfect health as you go through the, you know, the healing process, and just knowing that you got it. But two, that prayer, not praying for healing, praying in thanks that you're already healed and that you've received this lesson. So I think that would be the difference in the prayer, because if you're praying for something, that saying, I want health, well, then you're putting it out there to every cell in your body that you don't have health. But praying, saying, I am so grateful for my health and my healing, you have health and healing, and you're praying in a form of gratitude instead of praying in a form of lack and need. And that'll be totally different, I believe.
Yeah, and that's exactly how this one medicine-less hospital in China heals and reverses cancer. Is they don't pray for healing. They come together and start a chant together, and that chant gets louder and louder and louder, and they just raise the vibration. And what they're saying, they said it's not so much the word that they're saying that matters, but it's what the meaning of it was. And that is a prayer of celebration. It's celebrating that it's gone. And they just are truly celebrating, and they keep raising the vibration. They send it stronger, 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 stronger emotion. And then in less than 4 minutes, they watch the cancer disappear. And they do that every day at this one particular medicine hospital. And so we are really just starting to tap into energy and frequency and emotional quantum healing that way. And that's exciting. That's really exciting. The work we're doing here is important. Very important.
Out.
That reminded me of Abraham Hicks. I know so much, but I do like listening here and there. And today, through my mastermind, it was shared that they went to Abraham Hicks, one of their events, and this energy healer came, right? And she was asking how could she help someone with cancer, right, through energy. Because it's not physical in a way, but then you know that each organ, like if one organ it's hurting, or your knee, like you said, Casey, you know, she was researching to help individually, and Abraham said that she was coming from the physical, I guess, physical realm instead of the spiritual. And in the spiritual, there's no lack of health. It's health. It's always health. There's always joy. There's always energy. There's always, so what she was doing, she was still coming from the physical versus the spiritual, and celebrating, as you said, that health is there, and you just got to focus and celebrate it. And how amazing that you're sharing that, because that's exactly what Abraham said when it came to healing anything that is going on in our bodies, when it came to pain. And Casey, thank you for reminding me, because I'm going to have to start looking into, it's been 2 years and longer now with this excuse, well, I can't do this because my lower back or my knee, but then I'm not celebrating the health, if that makes sense. It's a lot better for someone that has not taken medicine for it, for herniated disc, for example. I'm doing great. But my point is, as you said, if you don't celebrate, right? Hello, the feeling, that's the secret. It's done. And that reminds me of the declarations that I learned in Spanish. You make a declaration, as I am in Spanish, and at the end you say amen, amen, in harmony for all, and so it is. Because it's done. You're celebrating. And I never understood why, but I just did it because it said so. For example, but it always says that, amen, so it is, in harmony for all. You always say that because you don't want to take away from anybody else in order to fulfill your happiness or whatever it is that you're looking for.
I like it.
Well, guys, I mean, this is really all I had. I just knew tonight would be kind of fun and easy, because we are all in that flow. We're in that understanding that there's no limit to supply, and the law of non-resistance is just us kind of getting in the way of it. Out of a little bit of alignment. And I love that contrast turns us around. And when we get more of what we don't want, it's kind of like, you know, dang, all right, thank you, thank that, right? So unless anybody, you know, Vera, thank you for tuning in tonight. You can always count on Vera and Cindy, and Cindy and you guys, and Casey and Angela. You guys are wonderful, and Terry. And anybody else want to make any more comments or have some thoughts on what we talked about? Share any L&R that they've been releasing, any resistance that you're letting go. Of course, we're going to focus on the flow and the positive and not the negative aspect of it, right? Certainly.
Hi, guys.
A little story. Yeah, hey, Vera, go ahead.
Hi, yeah. Then I want to conclude that chapter, I guess. That I guess a lot of non-resistance is the hardest to master, especially when we are talking on the other side of the joy, right? If it's something that joyful to not resist, it's pretty easy to do. But if it comes to the things are like just other things maybe get you upset, I think it's pretty hard to not resist, right? And And so I was reading the chapter too. I really like that. So I kind of, I guess, lost the thought that I wanted to share with you guys. But yeah, I wanted to say that sometimes I find myself on another side, and the side is like I'm getting upset about something, right, or feeling not right. There is a resistance going on, of course, and so how to apply this law, non-resistance, for this such thing? That means we have to agree with everything that was going on with us, and do not resist even this experiences in just because I don't know why, but yeah, we should not resist. I mean, kind of lost the thought. Sorry guys, I got nervous, I guess.
No, it's good. It's good.
Speaking up in front of the big crowd.
I like the last 3 sentences of the chapter. I think something about too, like where it says, unite your forces for good with the good that is seeking you. Remove and dissolve every obstacle by blessing it and being willing to understand it. Mark it no longer a stumbling block, but a stepping stone leading to your highest good. And I think just remembering that, you know, when we're in these situations, at least for me, that there's nothing that's out there to get me. There's nothing that's like, you know, trying to work my nerve on purpose. And, you know, like everything is for my good. So like to be able to bless it, you know, and know that there's good that's seeking me. And so the more that I'm like, you know, resisting it, it's like the more that I'm not allowing that good to come to me. So I'll keep that in mind going through it.
Thank you, Chris, for formalizing my words.
Bringing it
It was a nice one.
Cool. Yeah, it's great. I just love the group. It's got all the awareness. We have the tools, and it's just to continue to share and invite people. I invite people to this call who don't know who we are, or really even understand what working with the law is about. And I'm so grateful to be able to do that. And whether they come or not, I know I'm putting that out there. I know that we are all supposed to be sharing this because we've been gifted with this knowledge. That's important. And I like the least little, even most minute practical application of it. Like today when my phone rang, and it's a rental property I have in another town, and the only time the guy calls me is when there's a problem. So, you know, the minute the phone rang, I'm like, oh, great, just what I need. And then I stop myself because they don't call unless the heat's gone out, the refrigerator's died. You know, it's a rental property, so it's my property management group. And of course, you know, I'm putting myself on this beautiful journey of abundance, and I'm making some moves this week financially of abundance. And I've been in that mindset and reading my money affirmations. I'm feeling really good. And then the phone rings, and I just love it. It's almost like the universe is like, And so I quickly switched my thoughts, and I welcomed him, and I said, hey, how are you? And I started joking with him, and I said, let me guess, something's broke, need some money, gotta fix something. But I had such a light-hearted spirit about it. Like, I really felt fine with it. I just chose, I'm not gonna resist this. And how grateful I am. I have a property management group, and they're on top of everything. And how grateful I am. I even have a home I can rent out. How grateful I am. I have this beautiful tenant that's been in there forever, and she's, you know, just a widow little old lady, and I'm just so grateful. And you know, sometimes those calls are $4,000 and $5,000 calls, like a roof or HVAC. This was just a little refrigerator, not a big deal. And he'd already found me one, already had a refurbished one ready to go, was going to pick up my old one. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And then I realized how I've never really poured some heart space into this guy, because I'm usually pissed off that he's got to call me and give me bad news. So I said, you know, if I've ever been short with you in the past, because every time you call me, I've just looked at you as not good news. He started laughing. He goes, everybody does. Everybody hates my phone calls. When they see that number show up, he goes, I get more voicemail than you can even imagine. It's like people got to prep their mind to take my call, because they know I'm about to deliver them something financial. And so it made him feel good, and I felt good, and I thanked him, and I said, you know, we appreciate you. It's never personal, and thank you for all you do. You know, I just decided to change that outcome by just engaging with this law of non-resistance. So that's just my silly story today, but it really is just how you turn life around in the smallest details of our daily life. And this just will start to flow. So thank you, guys. If there's any other comments before we all kiss goodbye and say goodnight and head to the next great.
I just want to say thank you to Chris to remind me that from Dr. Wayne Dyer. I just actually listened my 39th day today. I'm going to transcribe day 39 tonight. But that always comes, I think it's number 8, where he says, you know, don't be right. What is it? Either is right. God, I listen it to every day, and I can't remember still. But it's better to be at ease, and that's how I understand it. It's better to be at ease than right. So let it go, let it be, and learn the lesson. That's how I understand what he's saying. Those are not his words. But the way I understand it is, let it be. It's all good. Your favorite song, you know, don't worry. So when he says those words, it's so mellow. I just love his voice, listening to him, and you remind me of that. Okay, you're right because you're seeing it that way, and I'm right because I'm seeing it that way. At the end, it is what it is. Just let it be. So thank you.
Sometimes you get in these little like nitpicky arguments with people, right? Like back and forth. And he's like, if you have the ability to choose to be right or to be kind, just be kind. Like it doesn't, like the right thing is that you don't have to force the fact that you're right, because right is right anyway. So like you should be okay with that. Right. that you know that, and not have to like get that point across.
Totally true. Yeah. So thank you. Thanks.
Great call tonight, guys. Thank you so much. It means the world to me to see you guys here. I just love you all, and I just look forward to every Monday night. I look forward to our Sunday night calls. I just look forward to every moment, every day. Life is so much better surrounded with like-minded people like us, and let's just get more and more people in the circle and show them what it really feels like to feel good, to flow, tap into this beautiful source and supply. And that concludes tonight's chapter.
Okay. Thank you, Belinda. Sending you love and blessings.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
love
Thank
you
you,
all. Blessings.
Love and blessings.
Bye.
Bye.